Hakasi Thaw ring kata khat kandai ter jemang arja arpulai ke Sorkar jala lakhot ek jelang japarok ke seng sain perthai Iakren halor ke roster system hagani ke jelang kawla penya de menteri rang ba ke jelau kor ke sangma kila shime ke rai ban Thaw de ke committee ke Iakren bat yathir halor ke ni ke phang ya ke ni ke committee on lam khamat de ke kong April lingdo ke badai ru ke menteri jo ke Sorkar jala.
Most of the political parties who are present here right now on the dais with me have seen the presentation and are satisfied seeing what the details are, and concerns have been raised and some clarifications have been sought, and hence we have decided that in order to ensure that all the different concerns that are there are clarified, and hence a committee is proposed to be set up, which will be chaired by our Honorable Health Minister, Kong Ampering, and different members from different political parties will be in it, so that we can allow them to seek clarification and give further suggestions on how they propose that or they suggest that we should move forward. Apart from that, certain clarifications have been sought. We have clarified most of the points. Certain clarifications like whether in the education sector this particular system will apply or not. So we have clarified that the roster is meant for direct recruitment only, and hence it is not meant to be implemented for education purpose, in the sense for the different seats that are there in different education institutions across the country. So on and so forth. There were many other points that were raised, and we have given a complete clarification of that. We have also in the presentation explained to the different political parties that the appointments that have been made from the past, those appointments from 1972 onwards, have been done, and we will put them as far as possible from different inputs that we received. We have put them and plotted them. And this data has now allowed us to understand the sequence in which we are now today to continue with the roster. I would like to clarify here today also that all the appointments that were made in the past, in all the decisions that were taken as per the reservation policy. And hence they are completely legally binding on the government. And hence the question of us going back and looking at it and cancelling or making adjustments does not arise. So therefore, these were done and appointed based on the reservation policy. And now after the information and data has been plotted, we are now in a position in some of the departments to understand how we will move forward. In the meantime, our members from different political parties have requested that till this committee, which will give us a report or will have a final sitting in the next few days, they have suggested that if we can keep any new advertisements on hold, and based on that we have agreed to that as a government, that we will keep things on hold till the committee is satisfied and gives us a final report and final discussion, which we expect it to be happening in a very, very short time. We will come out with the terms and preferences. And hence, after all these details were discussed, presentations were given, we have seen that most of the political parties have and are satisfied with the discussions that we had. There were certain political parties that have stressed and asked us to discuss on different issues apart from the roster. And they stressed that since the discussion was on reservation roster, they urged that reservation should be discussed. And we have made it very clear to them that this discussion that we're having today is on the roster system. And the reason the word reservation is there, because it's the roster on the reservation. And hence, the discussion was limited only to the roster system and not beyond that. So those clarifications were made, and based on that, as I said, different political parties have been able to grasp and understand the entire system. And I'm hopeful that now from here, they will also explain to the people of the constituencies, of the areas, of the parties, and explain to them how we have ensured that through the different steps and decisions that we're taking, that the interests of different communities throughout the state are protected. So that is what the decisions and the discussions that took place in today's all-party meeting. No, it's you can see that all the political parties are here, and almost all the political parties have understood what the government is doing, and they have appreciated also the concerns. Of course, there are challenges, and there will always be challenges. But on a whole, what the process we have followed and the way we are thinking of moving forward is something that almost all the political parties, all the opposition parties, everybody has appreciated it, and they are in line. They are seeking some more clarification, but in principle, they have understood how we're going to move forward. So I fail to understand where the VPP's logic is coming now, when they are first they were saying and talking about all this issue, and now when this is clarified, now they're bringing up another issue. It's their political decision. I only urge in one thing, that we have to understand that we are responsible leaders. We need to understand that we are responsible to the state and to the people. We need to understand that there are certain areas and certain subjects that have the potential to harm the communal harmony that we have and affect the state's unity. And as responsible leaders, we should know when and where and how we should move forward. Everything is not about politics. Everything is not about political gain. We have to realize that we have to be responsible as leaders to ensure that the safety, security, and the harmony in the state moves forward. So I appeal to all the supporters of all political parties, be it the political parties who are here and the political parties who are not here, that we need to understand, as I said, that we have been living as a society for the last many, many centuries. And we have as a state, we're lucky to have our own state in the last 50 years. We are very lucky that different policies in the reservation have been working in our favor in the last many years. We have to remember that going into these areas, is there any concern of how it could impact that entire reservation in the larger context of things? I think as responsible leaders, all the supporters of different political parties need to introspect and be able to take the right decision. These are not simple things, these are very complicated things, and we are looking at situations that could be unnecessary, cause disharmony in the state, and also these kind of things could affect the overall reservation policy that is there in the state if some wrong steps are taken. So hence, we need to be responsible, and I urge to the supporters and the leaders of all political parties and the stakeholders that we should work in harmony, we should work for unity, we should work to ensure that all sections of society of our state are taken care of. And as a government and as the Chief Minister, I'm ensuring that we are able to take everybody together. There are tough decisions to be taken, and we are taking those tough decisions. The political parties who are here with me right now, they know the discussions that took place. They know that concerns that are there. And yet, keeping all the balance of things, we're ensuring that we move forward in the best possible manner. So I appreciate their concerns and I appreciate their initiative, and I once again thank them for coming for this particular meeting.
So we are very happy as a Indian National Congress, because we're working for the interests of our young generation to ensure that our youth have a future in the state, our youth have faith in the system, and the government, the Chief Minister has clarified very clear that there will be no community that will be discriminated. The roster system is in place because all along after the reservation policy was enacted, there was no roster system in place. So it's been very clear now, it's been clarified. So the young generation should not worry. There will be no discrimination against any community. As per the reservation policy enacted by the Assembly, that will be followed in that aspect.
So many majority have demanded that the roster should be implemented prospectively. So what was clarified?
Yes, because you see, now you have got to start somewhere, and the court has been very, very clear that it should be from the time the roster system should be in place, right from the time that the reservation policy has been enacted. But of course, it will be implemented prospectively. But you have to have certain basis, and the court has made it very clear that the roster system should be in place right from the time the reservation policy was enacted.
So has your party proposed any cutoff year for implementation of this roster?
See, cutoff here, we've said, no, the roster system will be in there, will be right from 1972, but the implementation will be prospective.
We have been inside of so many things after the roster system is in place, because whenever there is reservation policy, there should be roster system in place. It is mandated in the law. So since after having the reservation policy also, there is no roster system. That's the reason why the Honorable High Court has intervened into this. So now this roster system is being implemented, and we want that while implementing this roster system, all the stakeholders should be put on board. And we'll see after this meeting. The government has assured that some committee will be constituted pertaining to the implementation of the roster system, comprising of each member from each political party. Then we'll move forward as to what will happen in future. We will be getting more enlightenment through that committee also. That's it.
Yes. So majority of the people are demanding for prospective implementation of the roster system. So what is the stand of the AITC?
See, the High Court's order is to make it implemented from the time the reservation policy is in effect. But however, the roster system, when it is being implemented, it is being implemented from prospective manner.
We have demanded for prospective manner, and the government has also agreed, even though the retrospective effect would be to understand the various positions of the various posts across all departments. But then all recruitments will be done prospectively. That was demand by our party as well, and that will be done as well.
So have you proposed any cutoff year for the implementation of the roster system?
See, once there are two sets of departments. One set of departments where we find that the data is ready and they are roster ready. Means after the positions are taken into place, without looking at the whatever appointments have been done in the past, everything will be done with effect from the date that the department should be roster ready, and from there they would be taken forward for all new recruitments. And there are also departments which are not yet roster ready. So we urge the government that these departments also should be taken into consideration at the earliest, and they be made roster ready based on the data available, because there were some complexities, and like say it was been told, as we all know also, that the education department was first under district council, several schools were under district council, so suddenly to bring them the data right from 1972 is quite difficult. So that the government is studying, and they will bring certain requirements.
What would you say? Are you satisfied with the presentation?
We had our doubts, we had our queries. One was that I think this was the best kind of positioning that the government can keep itself with, considering the kind of data, information, and the 50 years behind us that had gone. So if the roster has to be put in place, then this would be, I think, the best way forward. First, to bring all the political parties on board, and after this, whatever the decisions, final decisions will come, the government will give us a presentation, and based on that, we will again be discussing. And the committees, as Honorable Vice President has said, that a committee is being put in place. So that committee also will give further discussions and a platform for us to put our concerns. One thing is that the concern of the citizens regarding the application of the roster on educational seats, the reservation of educational seats. So the roster will not be applied to the seats. So this was one of the stand of the party, and we had put this discussion forward,
Any
and the
professional
government.
course.
So the government has clarified that for any high-end technical seat that is being reserved, only the reservation will be put in place, not the roster.
In 1972, when the reservation policy was there was a decision to review after 15 years. Now it's 51 years. It's not been reviewed. It's always good to discuss on matters, policy that are old. And I don't see anything wrong in that. If the government is shying away from discussing the SRP, maybe I don't think it's logical, it's correct. The government, we would propose that please be open-minded. Let us discuss. Because the situation back in 1972 and now is different. And if we go by the SRP, you see, why Kasi Jantia 40? Why the Garo community 40? This question was asked first time by our first Chief Minister himself on the 28th of January 1972 in the House, and he replied to that because the reservation was supposed to be based on population, but 40 was given to Garo and 40 to Kasi Jantia, whereas population of Kasi Jantia was more. But the Chief Minister at that time, he explained why they had given that time 40 to the Garo community and 40 to Kasi Jantia, and the justification is that because as per the government, there are very, very less Garo community people who are working in the department. Therefore, there is 40-40. Now, the big question is, this roster system will ensure that there are equal Garo and equal Kasi Jantia employed in various departments. If it is like that, then we have to change the 40-40 then. Because the 40-40 was given by sidelining the population, was on the idea, on the report of the government, because Garo community are very less. But now the roster will set that aside. There will be equal number of Garo and equal number of Kasi Jantia through the roster system, which makes it mandatory then. The purpose of 40-40 now has been solved. Now let's go back to population now. Let's go to population and change the ratio. That's how it has to be done. And we hope therefore we wanted to discuss more on the reservation policy also, which was maybe not elaborated in depth. And we hope that the government now, as per the meeting today, they'll take more meetings to come.